SFL, this is LaserBolt, and welcome to our first video of 2021. I took a little bit of a break, but we're back once again, guys, grinding. And boy, did we start off here with a bang. We got some really crazy information of what we could expect for Cyberpunk 2077 coming this year. And boy, is it gonna be crazy, guys. We're expecting a full-on reboot because someone that's supposed to not say something decided to say something and leak some information. It's actually pretty good for us because it brings us a lot of excitement in knowing that the game's going to get better. But you guys want to know what exactly is going to happen. So today we're going to be breaking all that down. But before we get started, I do want to remind you guys about our January giveaway. We're kicking it off with any game that you guys want for 2021. You'll be able to enter super duper easy. All you got to do is click the link in the pinned comment to enter. The only requirement is to be a subscriber of the channel, and that's it. Now, good luck to everybody that plans on participating. So guys, Cyberpunk 2077 is getting a full-on review. Actually, a dev that wants to remain anonymous has leaked out some information because he's a little bit fed up of what exactly has been taking out in Cyberpunk 2077. Me personally, I haven't had that many issues with bugs in the game, but I know a lot of you guys have had issues. I know a lot of people have asked for returns. But let's take a look at exactly what this dev said, why we're excited for Cyberpunk 2077 for 2021. This is what he says. This is very hush-hush, but I am fed up with the shenanigans. He really didn't say that, but oh well. So I'll disclose a few details. CDPR hurt themselves to keep investors safe and sound. Now devs are hearing plans of a No Man's Sky style comeback due late June. Now, for those of you who might not know what exactly that means, is as you guys remember, No Man's Sky, when it first launched, it was really bad, kind of very similar to this one. And they did like a full-on reboot of the game where they even started reselling the game like if it was launching that specific date. So we're expecting something similar based on this dev in June. Now remember, this is a rumor. This is something that got leaked anonymously, so take it with a grain of salt. It could be 100% real, 100% fake. So let's keep going. The first two patches should come out mid-March, despite what's been said by top executives. Now remember, we did hear earlier that we were going to be getting a brand new patch coming soon, which is patch 1.07 that was supposed to release early in 2021, somewhere around January. So that's what's been said. Based on this, he says that it might be get delayed a little bit, so we'll see if that comes true. That's kind of that would basically confirm this, okay, if it does get delayed. So here we go. There will be major departures from the studio in the coming months, so that means people are going to be leaving the studio. Dev's morale is at an all-time down, and Sony is roasting our patooties due to the gigantic volume of refunds requested. As you guys know, a lot of people are requesting their money back because of the game. There will be a meeting today with Sony executives to figure out a way to compensate players threatening legal action. Sony Japan is especially furious. They're angry. They're upset. They're urged. So there says more to come in the next couple weeks. Feels terrible, man. There is no finger pointing now, but word of memos come from the top. The director and senior devs are taking the heat. So that is what we know right now. There is a lot more information that this guy leaked, so we're going to go through it real quick. But as of what we're seeing right now, what he's mentioning and what he's detailing here is pretty much what we already know. We know a lot of people are upset. You know, a lot of people ask for requests, and we do know that we could expect a major full-on reboot of Cyberpunk 2077 coming out on June. Now, what's going to make this kind of rumor true is if we get a delay to the patch that's coming out in January, or that's set to be come out early this year, we know that this information is valid because that is the first thing he starts off with. He says, okay, don't expect it on January, expect it during around March. That's when we can expect a full-on reboot of the game. So let's go ahead and move on to what else he said. There is no finger pointing as of now. Word on the memos come from the top. The directors and senior devs are taking the flak for the team in what I would call a honorable move. Just so you know, we still joke about a quest that got rewritten more than a dozen times because certain top dogs wasn't feeling it, okay? It ended up being cut from the final production and should come on a later DLC next year. So what he's saying is here, guys, you know what? There were so many people up in the top echelon of the company that made us work things over and over because they weren't satisfied. They weren't happy with the way the story was written. And it seems like there was a bit of a disconnect between the devs and a bit disconnect between the top tier dogs in CDR project because they wouldn't agree with each other on the direction of the way the game was being portrayed. Now we're gonna get a little bit more into this because there's even stuff where they didn't even want Keanu Reeves taking part of the game, which is kind of interesting, but we're gonna keep going here. So he says there's people that got hired for whatever reason and stay in the company due to being trusted by the top dogs. He doesn't mention who these top dogs are, but he's pointing them out. He says a good chunk of the code is getting scrapped and rewritten from scratch. The intended game might be ready by June 2021. That's already done, he says, and ready since February. It didn't get implemented because of all the major UI bugs, and that is still present in the retail copy. That's 100% true, man. The UI, some of the UI bugs that I've seen from other people playing the game, atrocious. If you open your .dat file, you'll find a lot of scrapped content still in there. That's 100% true as well. Data miners have been able to find a lot of scrapped data in the .dat file, which a lot of you guys have seen posted on, Nexus mods and all those, I want to say hacking sites, but modification sites. If you want a refund, please ask for it. It positively impacts us as devs because we've warned the lead a million times about this kind of shenanigans. Most cosmetic overhaul should be ready by the second big update, hopefully. So he's saying, guys, every time that you guys ask for a refund for this game, it helps us as devs because it gives us the right. Like, you're like saying you guys were right, they were wrong. So he wants people to ask for refunds so the devs could get the kudos, like saying, you know what, they were right. Us top executives were completely wrong. Now, me personally, I have not had major problems with the game where it's like I have to return this game. The game's actually played pretty well for me, but that doesn't exclude the fact that there are glitches and there are bugs that should have been fixed before launch. So let's keep going. The update that's due in June will sort out all the bugs. The code for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One is getting scrapped and done separately, which should have never even been part of the game. They should have just never done an Xbox copy and a PlayStation 4 copy. It should have just been a next gen game and a PC game. Just my personal opinion. PS5 code is an improvement on the PC due to the awesome dev kit Sony put together for this gen. You'd be amazed on how much is already done. The content, so people finish the main quest, talk was all BS. Yes, guys. So they're saying the whole thing that we had to play through to actually get to a certain area, it's a bunch of BS. Most apartments with close locked, with the lock icon indicated, used to be lootable. Now this one's huge. He says, we've scrapped over 50,000 lines of dialogue, and I believe that June update will bring a whole lot of content back into the game. Now, me personally, I think there's just way too much dialogue in the game. That's just my personal opinion. If they cut down 50K, they should have cut down like 70K. Too much dialogue. My personal point of view. I just want to, I want to talk to someone and then get in there and do my thing. I don't want to be there sitting and talking. That's just me. Okay, that's just me. But if you people like the dialogue, let me know in the comment section down below. Anyways, moving on. He says, address the cut content as well. If they see that you guys are asking for shenanigans to be put back into the game, we might actually make the game we intended to make back in 2018. So it seems like what he's trying to pinpoint, his main objective of this and this whole leak, is saying, you know what, we were right. Us devs wanted to put more dialogue. Us devs wanted to put more content in the game. Us devs wanted the game to go in a different direction, but the top dogs wanted to have the game that you currently have right now. So it's either you like the way it is or you actually like the way we were intended to make the game. And he says there used to be a huge underground part of the city that the public never got to see because it looked ugly. Okay, to the executives. And so it wasn't that it looked ugly, it's just that the executives thought it looked ugly. It was freaking awesome, and it felt like a path of a vampire and masquerade. So it was like an underground area. Think of it like that one movie. I can't remember that one movie where the girl's a vampire and then she runs into the other guy that's a lichen. I forgot the name of them. Underworld. It's one of those, but that's what kind of the vibe that we're getting here. What it would look like. So that is what he said. He said, the underground part of the city was actually pretty dope, but the devs didn't like it, so we had to scrap it. All right, so now here's where he goes into the whole Keanu Reeves thing. Okay, this is what he said. I want to know from you guys, do you think the move for them to add Keanu Reeves in the game was a good thing, or was it a bad thing? If you think Keanu Reeves added to the game was a good thing, drop a like. If you think it was a bad idea, drop a, put your little thumbs down. So here, this is what he says. I don't want to hate on Keanu Reeves, but dang, the original Johnny was a lot cooler. So he's saying Keanu Reeves ain't cool, bro. That's what he's saying. He said the original Johnny was cooler and sounded like a maniac. Think Folstead's on crack. I don't appreciate his acting either. Damn, this man throwing shades on Keanu, bro. He said his acting sucks, but he's a very nice man. He walked up to us personally to greet us the first day and took his time personally to thank us one by one when they wrapped up the recording. The word is that the fee that he charged to actually come out of the game was actually very manageable, and the need for a star talent come from outside of CD PR. The executives complained because the whole freaking thing, who knows, it sucks. So, I mean, he's throwing shade at Keanu, saying he's not a really good actor. He doesn't like his acting, but that Keanu was actually pretty cool. He was modest. He came to say hello. He came to say what's up. And, he said that the original Johnny Silverhand that was supposed to be in the game was a lot cooler than what we got with Keanu. I really want to know you guys' intake on that one, though. Do you guys agree with him? Disagree? He does say that the original Johnny that they were working our original Johnny was heavily inspired by David Height's Solid Snake from the first Metal Gear Solid, and believe it or not, Cillian Murphy. Now, these are the ones he's referencing to, what we could kind of get our heads wrapped around on what the original Johnny Silverhand was like. Now he goes on and talks a little bit about the AI. He says there was a whole AI routine with minor gang violence in these areas. Now, if you guys recall, if you guys have been following my channel, I did a video where I talked about gangs and how gangs were going to be influential in the game. And this actually collaborates with that, because right now gangs aren't really influential in the game. They're just there. Okay. But he's saying that it's actually the way I had said it was. Okay. Because that's the information we got from the devs, that it was going to be like that. But he says there was a whole AI routine with minor gang violence in the areas, stuff you could sit back and watch unfold or directly influence. There was also a lot of drug use with kids that eventually got cut due to the inside censorship. And I could see why that happened, because, there's places like Brazil, the Netherlands, a lot of places don't like to have that type of content in their games, and if they want to kind of sell the game worldwide, they need to cut some things out. So he said that stuff that kids were doing drugs was taken out of the game. So he constantly says that there were priests and Hare Krishna side quests that got cut off. He also explains that there was a side quest that was written by Miles where a TAC officer offed himself, and you could take its place, and they created such a kind of complex and detour offset of the game that they decided to remove it and take it and scratch it out completely. So basically he's saying that there's a lot of content that was in the game that was rated R, right? Or that was rated, over 18, that got taken out of the game due to the fact that they wanted to avoid being censored in different countries and have the game as mass production. I personally think that if you guys wanted an adult game, the game should have just been rated adult, right? The game would have been rated adult, and then kids would have not been able to buy the game. But the game, they want to make money, so the game has to go out to the masses, and the only way it's able to go out to the masses is if the game is actually suitable for everybody to play it. So right now, the game is suitable for everybody to play it. I'm not saying like little kids or nothing like that, but you're able to play it as long as you meet the criteria that's in the copy of the game, which is rated M. But if the game has too much like adult content, then it's no longer going to be rated M. It's going to be rated adult, which puts it in a different category. And I think they didn't really want the game to go in that direction, which I'm feeling like the dev wanted the game to go in that direction, but I don't think it would have sold as many copies as it sold if it would have gone in that direction. That's just my personal take, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And then he goes on and says something really funny, which he says this: might sound weird, but the disastrous launch was actually something beneficial from our perspective. A cold shower set priority straight, and so we're able to resume work on what was originally intended without having those shenanigans or bullies breathing down our necks to publish. So basically he's saying that since the game launch was so bad, it actually made, it actually gave them the reason that they were right and the top dogs were wrong, and that now that they're able to put out the game that was really intended to be put out. And he says, I believe it was due to the miscommunication and leads not setting goals like they should. The game was jumbled together from 2019's E3, which is when I first saw the copy of the game. The last dev comp before the scrap was 160 gigabytes alone. There should be some whistleblowing in the coming weeks if the step down. So basically saying if people start leaving the company, we are going to be hearing a lot more information that what happened behind the scenes and why it was such a disastrous launch for Cyberpunk 2077. Then he goes off and talks a little bit about the Xbox Series X and how, you know, you're able to, how it was just kind of a re-implemented code that was put into the game. But he does mention some really interesting stuff where he says, we scrapped 2 whole arcs because the missions cleaned a save due to a bug with character placement. We've also scrapped a big portion of the underground and sewers because of bugs. Night City had 3 different types of cabs besides Villa Fort, and drivers would hold whole conversations and give quests. That also had to be scrapped. Police pathfinding scripts worked wonderfully until somebody screwed the pouch. All I know is that it's already being fixed, and it was a major oversight, of course. So he's saying that a lot of things got removed. We had a whole set of different dialogues, a whole separate different way of playing the stories, different way of obtaining quests that we currently have right now. He says Morgan Blackhand's backstory and a nod to the corporate wars. The DLC will add a lot to the crazy and cool idea Mike gave us when we began briefing the project. You guys should have a complete game by the end of next year if everything goes well. I really got to go now. Take care. So he's saying he's taking off for the holidays, that, you know, he just feels bad for the people who are still in the office working on the game, trying to get the game and trying to implement the stuff that was removed from the game back to the game. But he says the game will be complete and will be 100% what we expected to get when the game launched at the end of this year. So he says big update coming out June, which is when we get like a full revamp of the game, and by the end of the year everybody should be in love playing the game. I mean, I'm excited, guys, because I personally enjoy the game. The game's actually pretty fun. It's very enjoyable, making, you know, videos telling you guys where to get weapons, telling you how to get builds. I'm having a lot of fun with the game, and to know that the game's going to get even better and they're going to fix all the stuff that got messed up, and to see a lot of you guys that have left the game come back, it's going to be exciting for me. I mean, I already had one of these experiences with Destiny where there was a big hype for the game got stale, people left and came back. I mean, so I kind of know exactly what takes place in the game, and if what he's saying is real and true, we could expect a major comeback of Cyberpunk 2077 in 2021. I'm excited, but I want to know from you guys. Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.